Once again, we are back with some more Premier League predictions. Game week 25 coming up this weekend. Let's have a look at these weekend's games to go. Now, before we start today's video, how about subscribing to the channel if you're new around here? Try and hit 1.2k subs as quickly as possible, pretty much. We're almost there, about 60, 70 off from that goal. Also, leave a like if you're enjoying this series so far, if you haven't watched it before. This is obviously game week 25, 24 almost weeks previously predictions we have done. So if you're new around here, guys, subscribe for more weekly predictions. Let's go on with the video. Hello and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this series, of course, Game Week 25 of the Premier League. But first, let's have a look at Game Week 24's predictions and see how close we were to these correct scorelines. Let's get them up on screen right now and you can see how well we done last week for Game Week 24. Of course, a big weekend of football that was. But anyway, first game, it was Leicester versus Liverpool. I said a 2-1 Leicester win. Was a 3-1 Leicester win. Pretty close. Correct result, not the correct scoreline. Palace, I said, would beat Burnley 1-0. They lost 3-0. So a tiny bit off, I guess you could say. Wrong scoreline and the wrong result. Man City had to beat Tottenham 3-0. They beat Tottenham 3-0. Brighton Villa, I said 0-0. I said 2-1 to Villa. It was in fact a 0-0 draw. Wolves Southampton, I said a 1-0 draw. It was a 2-1 win away to Wolves. And in the second half of these predictions, I said a 2-0 Man U win versus West Brom. They somehow drew 1-0. I'm not sure how. Arsenal versus Leeds, a 2-1 home win there. It was in fact a 4-2 home win. Once again, the correct result, not the correct scoreline. And Everton versus Fulham, I said it would be a 3-1 Everton win. It was a 2-0 Fulham win. Don't know how that happened, once again. West Ham versus Sheffield United, I said it would be a 2-0 West Ham win. It was a 3-0 West Ham win. And Chelsea Newcastle, said it would be a 3-1. It was a 2-0 win to Chelsea. Now, last week, wasn't the best predictions. Quite a few I got wrong. I can't lie, probably my worst week in absolute ages. If you guys have watched this series, it's been quite good actually recently. We're getting the correct scorelines and the results. This week was a shambles. Anyway, on to this week's fixtures. And we're going to start off big here with Wolves versus Leeds. An interesting fixture, of course. I'm going to go on for a 2-1 Wolves win to repeat that win versus Southampton, but at home this time versus Leeds, who lost to Arsenal last week. But I've gone for a 2-1 home win for Wolves there. I think Wolves will start getting back to winning ways at some point soon. It's gone for a nice 2-1 home win versus Leeds. Southampton versus Chelsea. Chelsea are looking in very, very good form recently. Could push for that top 4 spot, although I'm not sure they will. West Ham are in the way. I don't think West Ham will get top 4, by the way. That was a joke. I repeat, that was a joke. I've gone for a 2-0 away Chelsea win there. I think Chelsea beat Southampton quite comfortably here. I think Southampton start sliding down the table a little bit more than what they did at the start of the season. Gone for a comfortable 2-0 Chelsea win. Maybe a Timo Werner goal again. He scored last week a tap-in. Could he score a good goal this week? Maybe he could, we never know. Burnley versus West Brom. This is the weekly last on match of the day, written all over it fixture. And I've gone for a 1-0 home, boring Burnley win versus West Brom. I'm never going to talk about this game. Who wants to talk about Burnley versus West Brom? It could be a 5-all thriller, but I highly doubt it will be. I'm going for a 1-0 Burnley versus West Brom. Liverpool versus Everton, obviously the Merseyside derby, the biggest game of this week, I would say. Well, definitely the biggest game of this week. Actually, West Ham versus Spurs is quite big, but not as big as Liverpool-Everton. I've gone for a 2-1 home win there. I think Liverpool win that game. Not comfortably though, but Everton are in some bad form, lost their last 2 games at least. So I've gone for a 2-1 home Liverpool win there. Fulham versus Sheffield United. For me, this is an interesting game. Both teams are kind of fighting for their lives. I think Fulham have got a slight chance of getting out. Sheffield United are pretty much down. We all know that anyway. So I've gone for a 2-0 home Fulham win there. I think that secures Sheffield United's relegation and kind of closes the gap on Fulham versus Newcastle. It could be a tight one there. Let's see how Newcastle do in the second half of the predictions soon. On to the first game of these second half of predictions though. And I've gone for West Ham versus Spurs. The biggest game of the season, pretty much, for a West Ham fan in the Premier League. Our biggest rival, or derby, shall we say, in the league by quite a mile. Obviously, Millwall are in the Championship and kind of relevant nowadays. But for a 2-1 win for West Ham at home, I think Spurs lost their last game 3-0 versus Man City. They're a weird team. They are good, but they're not good at the same time recently. But I've gone for a 2-1 West Ham home win. We're in great form. We're winning games left, right and centre. Most points, some of the most points in the league since this year. So I've gone for a 2-1 home win here. I think Antonio comes probably off the bench. I don't think he'll start. He comes off the bench and scores a winner. That's my opinion. Villa versus Leicester. An interesting game on paper. I've gone for a 3-1 Leicester away win. I think Leicester have too much of Aston Villa to handle, like I always predict. Villa to always lose. I've gone for a 3-1 Leicester win here. Quite a big scoreline for this game, but I'm confident Leicester can score 3 goals past Villa. Arsenal versus City. Now, Man City, probably have won the league. They're going to storm away with it. They're going to beat Arsenal 3-1 away from home is my prediction. Also, guys, remember to leave your predictions in the comments below of what you think this week is going to happen in fixtures, and let me know in the comments as well. Man U versus Newcastle. I've gone for a 3-0 win at home for Man U. My phone is going off here for no reason. I've gone for a 3-0 home win for Man United. Newcastle sliding down to that relegation zone. There's enough points in between them for now. They've got to start picking up points some point soon. I've gone for a 3-0 home. Easy win for Man United there. And the final game, Brighton versus Crystal Palace. This is a tough one for me to decide. Obviously, Brighton drew to Aston Villa last week in the league. Palace lost to Burnley? Yeah, Palace lost to Burnley. So I've gone for a 2-1 home Brighton win. I think Palace are struggling right now. Roy Hodgson isn't supposedly the man for the job, according to some Crystal Palace fans. I've gone for a 2-1 Brighton win. And that is it for my Game Week 25 predictions. Let me know in the comments, like I said, guys, your score predictions for this weekend's fixtures. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. I'll catch you all later.